On our first night in Astorga, we had a nice dinner with our new friends from the Bronx, Dean and Denise, and our older Camino friends from Australia, Anthony and Jane. We talked about RVs and free camping.
We finally made it out of our room today. Look at this cool building behind me. Look.
Sorry, I don't have any pictures or video of this dinner, as at this point, I still didn't realize what I was going to miss most about the Camino.
Alright, this is the bishop's house here in Astorga. And it was designed by Gaudi. Here's the cathedral. I'm gonna make it into both of these places today. Oh, it's gonna be incredible. Yeah.
But I do want to talk a little about what I think was the second Camino miracle, the first being my stick. While going for breakfast, we ran into Jane, who was having her breakfast alone in a cafe. We joined her, and she told us she had let Anthony continue on without her so that she could give her feet another day's rest, as she was getting terrible blisters. This was surprising news to us since they seemed to have a pretty good pace. They started the same day we did, and they didn't skip any like we did. Anyway, she was going to use this day to figure out what to do to prevent further damage to her feet. In her research, she decided to get new shoes, so she checked this town first. Then, after not having found any suitable replacements, she got on a bus back to Lyon to see what she could find. Mission accomplished. She found suitable replacements and got back to Astorga, then caught a taxi to the next town to catch up with Anthony. Well, this put them a day ahead of us, since we were spending 2 in Astorga. We saw them briefly in Rabanel del Camino, then we were separated again. The next 2 days put us back in the mountains and into some of the toughest terrain of the Camino. In my mind, I was thinking she's going to have a terrible time with new shoes and already damaged feet on this terrain. Had I known what was coming, I would have advised against it. When we met them again in Ponferrada on May 25th, she said they were perfect. No more blisters, no new problems. Problem solved. Camino miracle, I say.
Just want to say hello from the Bishop's Palace in Astorga.
Hi guys. Okay, we've just made it inside. There's 4 levels for us to go explore. Oh, this is gonna be beautiful.
While Jane was taking care of getting new shoes, we were touring the Palacio de Gaudi. Just stunning. Strange that they would give it that name, considering he was only really directly involved in the building of the foundation and the crypt. Interesting history that, unfortunately, I don't have time to get into right now.
This is the dining room. This is just an incredible building. What a designer he was. All right, wow. Just look at this room. I just know that this is not going to do it justice, but I'm going to try. Because it is absolutely incredible. I think I've said that a few times, but yeah, this painting. stained glass. Oh, yeah, they're doing some construction. That's lovely, isn't it? Let's try to zoom in up here so you can see these. We've made it up onto the 3rd level. And this is the room that I was just in, that I was showing you. But I'm up on the balcony. That's pretty incredible.
We toured the neighboring cathedral as well, the Cathedral di Santa Maria di Astorga. So many Santa Marias, and so many truly astonishing churches. Again, you really need to be there. The pictures are only a piece of the experience.
This is pretty cool. We're right here next to the cathedral and the Bishop's Palace. It's turned out to be a beautiful day. Sure, it would be hot if we were walking, but we're not. This is the altar in the cathedral here in Astorga. It is quite impressive. Wow. This is the chapel of St. Michael. That was pretty cool.
Meanwhile, we are hearing from our fast Camino friends, Marcin and Leah. Marcin has already been to Santiago, got the tattoo, and been to Fistera. And I think back to Santiago, and correct me if I'm wrong, my friend, back to Fistera and in the water? Overachiever much? Anyway, I think he found love. Leah sent us a video and some pictures of her in Santiago as well. No tattoo though. I think she has found some happiness as well. I'm not sure if that was the purpose of their journeys, but I think it's a great place to start a relationship, or even renew one. I know, yuck. Sorry, kids. In case it's not obvious, I want to elaborate a little on that. The reason I feel this way, like this is a great place to start a relationship, is not the location. It's the interactions that you have. For the past 20 years or so, people have slowly been becoming more isolated. True, people are able to connect more through social media, but that personal connection has gotten less and less over time, I think. Here, on the Camino, you can see how that personal connection used to be, and that most people, at least here, prefer that. I know I do.
Good morning from day 36 on the Camino de Santiago. Oh, it's nice this morning. It's about 43 degrees. It's early. It's before 7, but we do have a long hike today. We have about 20 kilometers, and we start climbing the mountain today. So we wanted to get a little bit of an early start while it was cool before it gets too hot, and to make it to the albergue at a decent time. So we're heading out of Astorga. Anyway, let's get going.
Hopefully we find some coffee.
Yes, we need some coffee. Maybe there's something open up here. Buen Camino. Less than a mile, and we have cafe con leche.
Well, just outside of Astorga, we found some breakfast. Unexpected, but that was a good stop.
Okay, where to start? We left Astorga early, expected it to be hilly, but it really wasn't bad. By this point, though, we are getting pretty good at it. We have learned not to rely on the guidebook or the app for geographics because they are very misleading. Map making seems to be another lost art. We saw our first deer of the journey, other than the captive ones back in Pamplona, that is. This is really strange to me, the fact that where I'm from is all kinds of rabbits, deer, skunks, squirrels, groundhogs, raccoons, coyotes, possums, and you name it. Here, we've walked, 500 miles, and the critter count is 1 deer and 4 rabbits, and that's it. What the hell? Where are all the critters?
So pretty walking into this little village. I can tell that my mental status has changed. I'm a little more excited to get up and walk in the morning. I love seeing the mountains, knowing that these little villages are coming. It's just, I feel better. Yeah. All right, we're coming up on our next little village, and there's teepees sitting over here. I'm not sure, I didn't quite expect to see that, but we're right at a little over 8 miles. It's 10:46. We got 4, maybe 5 miles left for the day. Probably 4 miles, I think. Anyway, it's going good. It's a beautiful day. This is a beautiful walk. This is a small little village. There's not much happening in here. I do not think the whole thing's abandoned. No, there's some music coming from somewhere. Oh, this is nice. See the church. You can see the stork in the nest. Oh, here. We have about 2 kilometers left, and we are starting our climb. I think it's going to be a little bit of a steep one, maybe. We'll see, but let's go. And we're still climbing. It's really not too bad, but it's a climb.
We're coming into our next town. Another 20-kilometer day. I'm not sure what the name of this town is. I'll put it on there later. But it's Tuesday, May 23rd. There's Tammy. It's been a good walk. Not too bad. We thought it would be hillier than it was. But and it looks like we beat the weather. So did pretty good. It did start to get kind of warm when the sun was out, but right now we got some clouds, so we're in good shape. And here's some cows.
It's a cow. This fence? Oh. Huh. So it was outside the fence.
Well, there's another fence right there. I just stepped over it.
Oh.
It's outside of that one,
Rudeness. The award for the rudest person goes to, not an American, surprisingly, someone from Wales, I'm assuming, for writing this on almost all of the signs all the way from St. John. Congratulations, you idiot. And I think the US and some other countries are tied for second. The US for not even trying to learn some basic Spanish, like café con leche for coffee with milk. I mean, if you drink the stuff, learn to ask for it. Also, under other countries, people talking on your phone around other people trying to relax or otherwise, and people taking an entire bench for themselves and their backpacks. And the biggest for me, toilet paper. I know, when nature calls, you gotta go.
Looks like snow.
But I carried a Ziploc bag with me the entire journey that had its own pocket that I used for trash, and toilet paper was mostly what went in there, rather than on the trail or behind every bush. Come on, people. And Spain isn't getting off easy either. For one, is it really that hard to put a hanger up for the shower head? And what's with the handle being right where you can bump it while trying to wash? And door locks. They are really not that complicated. And shouldn't a light switch be in the room where the light is? Or at least the motion detector? Oh, and what's with all the closed churches? Even on Sundays. Really? Okay, now that that's over with, next up, Cruz de Ferro, or Iron Cross. But that'll have to be for the next video.
Very emotional.